Hello. Today we're going to be talking about Visio and data linking. Now, before I get started, I wanted to point out that this does require Visio Professional. You cannot do this with Visio Standard. I'll be using Visio 2013 Professional. I do recommend at least 2013. It has some functionality that 2010 doesn't have. So let's get started. This first video, I'm going to focus just on setting up and then linking the data. I'm hoping to do this video across three different clips. The first one will be the setup and linking data. The second one will be focused on stencils and data graphics. And then the third one will work on changing and updating the data. So to start off, just have a simple diagram here. You'll notice I have two pages down at the bottom. I have one called background and one called components. This is just something I like to do on my Visios. I like to have, it's basically a way of layering. I have a background page that I've created. If you right click and do page setup, you can see that it is a background page and I've named it background. Just for reference, both of these pages are 11 by 17. I like working with 11 by 17 sized diagrams. They print nice to 8.5 by 11 if necessary, and they also look really sharp on PDFs, and they give you plenty of room to work with. 8.5 by 11 can just sort of start getting small when you're working with a lot of components. So in order to do that, I just right click, page setup, create this background, and then on the components page, right click, page setup, and it's a foreground, but I tell it that its background page is the background. So if I do none, makes it blank, background, puts it in the background. The reason for doing that is primarily so that if I'm moving the components around, I don't accidentally grab a something that I've used to separate the components for visual aid. It also helps when linking data. There are times when, if you're doing the automatic linking option and you tell it to link to all shapes on the page, I think it just simplifies it. So anyway, let's get started. For this exercise, I've created a little mock Excel spreadsheet that's basically just a little build sheet. So imagine each of these are a server. So, it looks like we're going to build 13 servers here. 4 of them are web servers, and the rest they don't say, but we'll just assume they're application servers. All servers are Red Hat Linux for this, and they're all going into production. And I'm just calling the project Project 1. Not very creative, I know, but that's what I went with. Host name, here's the server names. Again, not very creative. I was just trying to keep it simple. IP addresses, whatnot. Just some basic information you may have when you're building a server. So for starters, we're going to just go ahead and link that data. So we're going to go up to data. We're going to do link data to shapes. Microsoft Excel workbook. And we're going to browse. We're going to browse to our build sheet. And what happened? There it is. Okay. For some reason it hit itself. Okay. So you can see it's picked our build sheet. We're going to hit next, and it's asking what worksheet or range do we want to use. Well, that is down here. So you see I have these different sheets. Now the rest are blank. But sheet 1 is what has all of our data. So you can see it really just sees that sheet 1 is the only one that has any data. If you had other data on the other sheets, they would probably show up here, but you want to make sure you're picking the correct sheet. First row of data contains column headings. We know that it does. You can see here we have column headings. Okay. What columns do we want to include? Well, we're just going to do all. We could, go in and specify, but we're just going to do all. Okay. This is going to be your unique identifier. This is sort of like a primary key in a database. You're going to want to pick a field that is unique for the row. So we know the host name is unique. The IP address is probably unique as well, but we're going to go with the host name here. It recommends it. It recognized that it was unique and it recommended it. So you can see your data down here, and you see pretty much that it looks just like the spreadsheet. Now, what's important to keep in mind here is that this data has been imported in from the Excel spreadsheet. So while it is data linked to that Excel spreadsheet, all that means is that we now have, Visio knows to go refresh its data from that spreadsheet when we tell it to go refresh. But this is not looking directly at the spreadsheet. It has actually pulled that data into Visio, and Visio is storing that data within Visio itself. So if you send this diagram off, if you email it to somebody and don't include the spreadsheet, it's not going to blow up the diagram when the recipient opens it. They're going to have all of this data. If the spreadsheet is deleted or it's renamed, this data will still be here. Now, you won't be able to refresh it immediately if that happens. You'll have to relink it, but it's nice because the data is still here. So that is linking the data to Visio. So that's step one. It's pretty simple. Next step, we're going to work on stencils and data graphics, and we'll actually be copying the data into the Visio. So go check that out.